All right, what is happening, everybody? Welcome to the podcast that we could talk about anything and anything that we want to talk about. This is the Let's Talk Anything podcast. I am your host, Matthew Sonic Mix, and tonight we've got some good subjects to talk about, including a main event topic that you don't want to miss out. I have a returning guest. He was in the first episode of the Let's Talk Anything podcast. But before we get to my guest, or my returning guest, I should say, the subjects slash topics that we're going to be talking about here for tonight. We're going to be giving our predictions for NXT UK Takeover Blackpool 2. That's going to be airing on the WWE Network this coming Sunday. We're going to be giving our predictions for the 2 NFL games on Saturday and the 2 on Sunday. And then for our main event topic of the evening, we're going to be talking about cell phones, the good, the bad, and the ugly. At this time, I would like to welcome back my previous guest from episode 1, and that is Tony Trinity. Tony, how are we doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
Oh man,
Sonic
I'm
Mix.
doing good tonight. Before we get into our predictions, I gotta say, we are almost in the middle of January. And this is usually the time where it gets really bitter cold, starts to snow a lot here in Chicago. But outside, as of this recording, it is raining, pouring out.
I, I, I'm about to say, are we now in Florida, but with the colder temperatures?
And actually, let me say this really quick. I actually got back from a buddy's house not too long ago. Today's my buddy's birthday, so happy birthday to my buddy Oz. Big shout out to him. Um,
Happy birthday, dude. Happy birthday.
um, you know, I was in a jacket and all, but my God, it was like mid 40s, maybe close to 50. It really feels like an early spring here in Chicago.
Actually, you would be correct. It was in the 50s.
No, it was beautiful out. It was still sweater weather, but still, it was beautiful out.
You're not wrong. Even though I was wearing my T-shirt,
Uh huh.
my kind of vesty looking thing that I got on the internet, my Destiny Warlock hoodie above that, and my Balor Club jacket on over that. And well, I'm usually a cold kind of guy, so temperatures do hit me really, really hard. If I'm wearing like a fleece or a semi-spring winter coat, I wore all that, and I was actually pretty comfortable.
Nice, very nice. Well, let's go ahead and let's jump into these predictions here. So, yes, once again, these are the NXT UK takeover predictions for Blackpool 2. We got ourselves 5 matches here. The average
Which is always wonderful.
which is always wonderful, and it's the norm, the normal 5 matches. We never usually see 6, and it's usually 4 for war games. And how we do it here, people, is we go from bottom to top. Of course, the top is usually the main event. I will mention the names, and we basically predict on who we think is going to win. And sometimes we give bonus points. But for this show, no need for a bonus point. We're going to save those bonus points for the Royal Rumble. So here we
and
go.
also the Big Four.
Yes.
Typically,
the Big Four. And sometimes we'll throw a bonus point or two for, like the B shows like Hell in a Cell, Extreme Rules, and all that sort of thing. So here we go from the bottom to the top here. The 5 matches here. First, we got Trent Seven versus Eddie Dennis.
Trent Seven.
Now, let me say this, and I think I can speak on behalf of my buddy Tony here as well. I have been falling back very hugely with NXT UK, and most of these is just shot in the dark predictions here. So,
Usually this is how it goes for Blackpool for the UK brand. We did this once before,
Yeah.
and we did this out of like purely in the dark of how things are. Because back in the day, either A, we're busy, or B, we are not really following the UK brand. Because we do have it on USA for the US side, but it seems like you got to put on another device just to tune in on the WWE Network and all. So
Right.
that's another
So
reason why it's a little hard.
right. So I'm just gonna take a shot in the dark here and say Eddie Dennis. Looking at him, I mean, what I can remember him when the NXT UK brand first started, he wasn't really doing much. And I know Trent Seven is kind of a big deal, so I feel like Eddie Dennis can easily get the win for this one. At least that's how I feel or taking it. So I'm gonna go with Eddie Dennis for this one. Up next, it is Mark Coffey and Wolfgang versus Marcel Bartel and Fabian Eichner of Imperium versus the Grizzled Young Veterans versus Mark Andrews and Flash Morgan Webster in a four-way ladder match for the NXT UK Tag Team Champions. The current champions is Wolfgang and Mark Coffey. Who do you think?
Well, since they lost this past, I believe it was NXT,
Yeah.
meaning the tag team of Gallus, to be exact with the terminology.
Yep.
Since they already did the dream match between Gallus and what was it, Undisputed Era, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And those two are champions at the same time. So, as I'm seeing this as a prediction for the next upcoming NXT US versus NXT US,
Yeah.
it's going to be Imperium going to be taking home the gold.
Yeah, that was my first thought when I saw the matchup here. I'm gonna go with Imperium. I think Imperium wins, and then come the Worlds Collide event in 2 weeks.
That's it.
Yeah, in the Worlds Collide, it's gonna be all the champions of NXT of Undisputed versus all the champions of UK in Imperium. So I'm gonna go with Imperium for this one.
So what is their secondary title in UK? If you don't
As
mind
far
me
as I
asking?
know, there is no secondary title yet. They just have the United Kingdom title, the women's title, and the tag team title.
So 3/4 champion versus all four champion. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, let's continue.
Up next, Tyler Bates versus Jordan Devlin.
Bates.
Figuring Bate lost to Walter, I'm gonna go with Bate. I'm gonna go with Tyler Bate for this one, and I like Tyler Bate. He's awesome. Up next, current champion of the NXT UK Women's Champion, Kaylee Ray versus Toni Storm versus Piper Nevlin in a three-way for the NXT UK Women's Champion.
Well, if you've been paying attention on the news and whatever revolving around wrestling, Kaylee Ray is currently injured. I don't know the severity of it. So that's going to be a damper on her since she's going to be going in there not 100%. You know what? I like her, but I like Toni more. I'm picking Toni.
Boy, do I go for the unexpected and pick Piper Nevlin? Because she's kind of there. What if?
I mean, you're not wrong, but then who's going to be facing at the World Collide against Rhea Ripley?
That's right. That's right. Could be the rematch between Storm and yeah.
And then the winner gets all the gold. No pun intended on undisputed terminology.
Right. Oh my God, I don't know. You kind of think about this. Does Storm kind of need the title? I mean, I get Storm versus Ripley. I get that.
And then let's just say if Toni wins, then she gets a redemption against Rhea Ripley.
True. There is that. Boy, I want to say Piper Nevlin, but if what you're saying is true about Kaylee Ray, I'm gonna go with Toni Storm on this. But I really want Piper Nevlin, but I'm gonna go Toni Storm. Final answer.
Storyline wise, I'm not wrong.
Right? No. I'm not disagreeing with you or anything like that. It does make sense.
Because let's just say if Kaylee Ray was 100%,
Uh-huh.
just you know who I'm going to be picking if she was 100%?
Who?
Kaylee Ray.
Yeah, that would make the most sense.
Because then that would be heel versus face at that point.
Right.
But now at this point, since she's not 100%, then I mean, granted, she does have time to heal up. I like I said, I don't know severity, but let's just say she could heal up and then maybe possibly face Rhea Ripley. But then we all know that Rhea Ripley would take the gold. So we don't know who's going to take the gold at that point, Team UK or Team USA.
Right, exactly. And then finally, our main event, Walter versus Joe Coffey for the United Kingdom champion.
Walter.
Well, first of all, I hope they found the little Weezer in Chicago that stole the belt at the Evolve show. I hope they found him, first of all. Secondly, this match is a little weird to me because last I checked, Joe Coffey was a heel. Unless something happened where he's a good guy now, but once again, I haven't followed the UK as much. I know when they do the video packages, maybe they will explain like what happened, but the way I see it, it ain't gonna be Joe Coffey. I'm gonna go with Walter. That is the safe bet to pick. So I'm gonna go with Walter for that one. So doing the quick recap, uh, Seven versus Dennis. You went with Seven. I went with Dennis. The four-way ladder match, we went with Imperium, you and I. Bate versus Devlin, we both went for Bate. Kaylee Ray, Storm, and Nevlin, we went with Storm. And Walter versus Joe Coffey, we both went for Walter. And hopefully Walter slapped the crap out of that little weasel that stole his belt in Chicago. Which, by the way, I haven't heard anything to what had happened with that United Kingdom Championship. Did they ever found it, or is it still missing?
If anything happens in Chicago, it stays in Chicago, just like Vegas. So for all we know, it's up in advance, and then Walter is going to be walking out with no title against Joe Coffey for the title, and like, how's that going to work?
Or they just have like a replica belt. But I'm sure, let's see, that happened in November. I'm sure they have another title. I mean, you would have to think so.
I mean, there could be another design to it, for all we know.
Yeah, I mean, well, let's see. That design is what, 4 years old now? Yeah, it's about 4 years old now. I mean, I don't think there's no need for a new design. I really love that design for the United Kingdom title. I just love the two lions holding up the shield with the WWE logo in the center. I just love that design. I really, really love that belt. It's a beautiful title.
I mean, you're not wrong, but still, they could always decide to change it up because it is a new decade.
True. Well, actually, you know what? Speaking of wrestling wise and title belts should be changing. The WWE title that's had that look now for 7 years. Come this March, so I think.
I do have that WWE title, the same one that AJ Styles held once in his life, on my wall, and it actually does look beautiful. I got actually the second version of it, not the original, because they did do a minor update, like pretty much like the Xbox S and then Xbox X.
Yeah.
It's like something similar to that effect. You know what I mean?
Right. So I think the WWE title could, especially the US title, those two I think needs a new makeover, especially the United States belt. That's been the same look since it was debut, which I think it was in 04, if I'm not mistaken. 03. No, 03, I think. I think it was 03.
Actually, it looks like similar to the WCW United States.
That's supposed to be what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to represent the WCW title, pretty much.
I doubt it that they're going to change it now. If anything, they could do a white belt like they did the Intercontinental, but then that would look a little weird.
Yeah, it probably would a little bit. All right, so let's jump into our next topic. Now, our predictions for the 2 NFL games on Saturday and the 2 NFL games on Sunday. So here we go. We're going to go basically bottom to top as always. Let's start off with the 2 Saturday ones. Now, unfortunately, I'm going to be missing both of these two. So I'll just look at the highlight reel on YouTube because I'm going to my cousin's house and I'm going to practically spend all day with him on Saturday watching Wrestle Kingdom. I've not been spoiled. I have avoided all spoilers for a week. So I am going into that show completely blinded. So, but unfortunately, I really want to see this match because I am curious to know who's going to win. But once again, I'll see the highlight reel of it. So the 335.
Stop saying match. Correct terminology.
Yeah.
Please. For a change. Once in your life.
So
say
we
game.
Yep. So at the 3:35 p.m. game, it is the Vikings at 49ers. Who do you think is going to win? And if you had to predict the score.
I hate to say this, but I'm picking the Vikings.
Who? What's the score if you had to predict?
20-13.
20-13. Okay, so good, kind of low, mediocre. You know what? You could say the Vikings beating the Saints was an upset. And you can say what you want about the pass interference offside or the offensive pass interference that last play in overtime. But what's done is done.
I mean, they do got a four-leaf clover up their ass.
Yeah, or as I like to call horseshoe. You know what? You know what? If the Vikings can beat the Saints, you know what? I'm going to go for the upset and pick the Vikings over the 49ers. And I say, yes, let's see. You say 20-13. I think it's going to be a little bit of a higher score. I'm going to go 28. I'm going to go 28-21 Vikings.
So, what was the score for the previous games between the Vikings versus the Saints and the 49ers to whomever they fought
Vikings versus the Saints, that was 26-20, and the 49ers did not play in the wild card. They had a bye.
Then it should be interesting.
Yeah, so I'm going to go 28-21 Vikings win. And then the 7:15 p.m. game for Saturday, the Titans upsetting the Dynasty Patriots versus the Ravens, Baltimore Ravens. At the Ravens, who do you think wins?
Who was it, the one that did the Patriots?
The Titans beat the Patriots.
Yeah, that's it. You know what? Another four-leaf clover up their ass. I'm picking the Titans.
Ooh, boy. Upset city here. And what's your score going to be?
Let's see. 28-13.
Wow. So you think it's going to kind of be it's not really a blowout, but at least a 2-touchdown game?
Could be possible. Anything's possible.
Games. I mean, no, you're absolutely right, but wow, a 2-touchdown game. I mean,
because let's just say they dominated against the Patriots.
They did.
Who we all thought that was going to win.
Yeah, and I gave praise to Derrick Henry, the running back of the Tennessee Titans. He put over 100 yards plus in the first half, and at least a good 60, I think, almost 200 yards in total in that whole game. So if he could do that again to the Ravens, there is a chance, but my pick is the Ravens. And I'm going to go, you know what? I'm going to go Ravens 31-14. I think the Ravens are going to dominate.
So 2 touchdowns
and a field goal.
Is it field goal?
It's 2 touchdowns and a field goal. Well. Okay, if you're going 2-point conversions now, so let's see. No,
Because
actually, no.
mathematically,
Well, no, because actually, they would still need a field goal. So it would be 2 touchdowns with 2-point conversions, or at least an extra point, and a field goal. At least a field goal.
to do your mathematics to be correct.
So they could either just take the extra points and tie, or they can get ballsy and try to pull off the upset if they could. But no, I'm gonna go with the dominance. I'm gonna say Ravens beat Titans 31-14. Now we jump to Sunday's games. January 12th, up first, the 2:05 p.m. game. That is the Texans against the Chiefs. The Chiefs are at home. Who's your favorite to win? Who do you think is going to win?
You know what? I'm picking the Chiefs.
And what's the score going to be?
14-7.
Ooh, low game, I see. I'm also going to go picking the Chiefs as well. 14-7. You know what? You know what? I'm gonna go a little higher than you. I'm gonna go 24-10. So not too much, but just a little bit higher. And then finally, the one game that you and I are probably going to be looking forward to the most. And from what I'm understanding, Green Bay, as of a few hours ago, maybe now, is getting hit by a snowstorm. So it's going to be a fun, snowy, possible game for Sunday. And that is the Seattle Seahawks at Lambeau Field, Green Bay Packers. Who do you think wins?
So who has the home field advantage?
Green Bay Packers, Lambeau Field. In what could be a snowy, very cold Lambeau Field game.
I mean, Seahawks have been in colder seasons.
True. And they have an outdoor stadium as well.
And they're used to this shit. Bar none. And I don't want to see a freaking Vikings versus a Packers game.
You see, that's what I want to see.
Fuck you. Fuck you. I know we're both in the Midwest, but fuck you. Hell no. That ain't happening. Fuck that shit. Nah, that ain't cool. Fuck you. Go Seahawks. Boom. Final answer. Boom. 21-14.
21-14. Well, I'm gonna go for the Green Bay Packers. I'm sure you saw that.
Well, I know you're because your team green and gold. The only team green and gold that I'm sporting is freaking Tommy Oliver, aka the Green Ranger. So go fuck me on that. Gold out your support, asshole.
I say Packers. I say 28-14. I say 28-14.
So 2 touchdowns.
Yes, I say at least a 2-touchdown game. It could be a 1-touchdown game, but I'm gonna go 2-touchdown game for this one. All right.
Granted, I'm a Seahawks fan, even though my prediction from when we did that questionnaire at the end of last year, Packers versus the Patriots, let's just say if the Packers get eliminated, then my whole prediction got out of the
yeah
wall.
And I want to remind the people again. I know I said this in the last episode, but when we made our prediction game, this is before we started the podcast, I gave you the topic of Super Bowl, and you predicted that it would be the Packers against the Patriots in the Super Bowl, with the Patriots winning. Well, yeah, if the Packers lose, then your prediction is totally out the window.
Only reason why I predicted the Patriots versus the Packers was because last year it was going to be the Patriots versus the Bears.
Uh-huh.
That didn't happen either.
No, that didn't.
That's why I went to say the Packers this year, and I don't want no friggin' Packers to win the whole shebang, because then that'll make it 3 championship victories that they got.
5.
5? I thought it was
They
3.
won the first 2 Super Bowls, They won the
Okay.
one Super Bowl with Favre. They won 2011 with Aaron Rodgers. That was when they beat the Steelers. So if they win the Super Bowl, if it's possible, they would be 5-time champs.
Oh, I don't want them to beat Booker T either.
Nice. And now finally, we come to the main event topic, the cell phone conversation, talking about the good, the bad, the ugly. As a matter of fact, I've had this cell phone conversation before with two other friends, and there were some really good conversations I had with them. So I think this may be our first time we've ever talked about cell phones. I think. I'm not 100% sure.
I think we did, but it probably won't be as extensive as it is now.
So let's talk about cell phones. Let's do it for the record here.
Okay, shoot, go for it, man.
So cell phones, what is your opinion on them? Like, how have they evolved when they first started out back in like what would have been like the very late '90s, very early 2000s? What do you see?
Before that,
Well, how far do they actually go back?
I think either the 80s or even possibly mid 70s.
Because here's what
If I'm not mistaken, they had like that little, not really little, but that huge chunk ass rectangular thing with like an antenna attached to it. But that had been at least the 70s.
Yes. See, I remember that. I remember, you pick up the phone, you pull up the antenna, which kind of made it look like some big ass walkie-talkie you had in your hand. But I remember the really rich.
The really rich people that would carry that kind of stuff. Just like the people who have their corded phones inside of cars, like in the movie Home Alone, if I'm not mistaken, that's the only movie that I could still remember to this day have like a corded phone in their cars, and they have like an antenna attached to it.
Yes,
I know there's probably more, but you know what I mean.
Right. I kind of vaguely remember it. I would have to go back again. But it's kind of funny with the 90s. I don't want to side away from cell phones, but I just want to say this really quick. Like in the 90s, like rich people had more. I mean, it wasn't. I guess I could say it was advanced cell phones. I mean, not like cell phones we have today, but it was kind of like an upgrade to the antenna cell phone. Or I look at computers of the 90s, how freaking expensive they were back then. Like if you had a computer, if you had a computer back in the 90s, you were pretty much considered looked at as a rich guy. Literally.
Or if you remember the movie Back to the Future, I believe it was the second one. Or no, was it the second one? Or was it the third one? No, the second one.
Well, they went to the future.
Yeah.
2015.
Or was it the first one? Well, whichever one, that he went back in the past, after going to the future or whatever. Yeah, the second one. Where he had two televisions, and people who had two televisions back in the 70s were considered to be rich.
Yeah. Yeah, and of course, back then TVs they had the antennas and all that. Boy, I bet that was fun.
And whatnot. I remember those days.
Oh yeah, but back on the cell phone. So, what would you say is like the good, the bad? Is there something that kind of irritates you about cell phones? Like, what is your experience with it?
Growing up, I was always used to like corded phones, and then soon, probably like 5 or 10 years later, cordless phones and whatnot. That was great. And then I was able to talk to my best friend on it, my girlfriend on it, with no problem. After cell phones came into the picture, granted, it's convenient, bar none. It's very convenient. Like you go outside your house and talk to somebody without being confined in a building. You could talk to someone in the car. You could talk to somebody while walking, this and that. So it does have perks. Nowadays, you could view the weather your sporting events like your MLB, their scores, their stats, NFL for the Super Bowl coming up in a couple weeks or 3 weeks or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Wrestling related, you can watch the matches on there nowadays, and not like you don't have to be on your Xbox or your PlayStation or your computer or your smart TV if it has the capability of watching these things. Now you can watch it on your cell phone. Granted, yeah, it's a small screen. It's like what, 7 inches, 8 inches, 12 tops. It seems like they're getting bigger in size as the years progress. So they're going to be pretty much like a tablet eventually, or even if the tablets could be like the next replacement for cell phones. You know what I mean?
Oh God, can you imagine somebody carrying around like some big ass tablet? Oh my God.
Well, people who work at retail, they have to carry around a laptop to do their ordering.
True. Yes, that is true. That is very true.
And then some of the vendors, they have like this little push, like a push to talk feature. But instead of doing like a push to talk, they do push to order. So you can do ordering on your tablets nowadays. I wish that freaking grocery stores did that.
Now let me ask you.
That would make it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That make the whole life a whole lot easier. Basically, you push something,
Mm-hmm.
and then you push it once. That's like one case. If you push it twice, that's 2 cases. That'd be very convenient.
Now let me ask you this question. What irritates you the most about cell phones? Or what makes you go like why when you see somebody using a cell phone? Like what kind of, I don't know if I want to say triggers you, but what just kind of makes you just want to face palm?
Kids,
Oh,
8 years old, 7 years old, 6 years old, even younger. They have cell phones in their hands nowadays. I'm like, what the actual fuck?
do you find it very disturbing, like how kids nowadays have cell phones, but yet when we were growing up, I mean, I think I was telling the story on episode 1. I did not get my first phone until I was a junior in high school, and it was
the same thing with me.
and it was a Virgin Mobile. It was a pay to go phone, and I hated that piece of crap.
Well, mine was an AT&T, and it was a flip phone, and
Same as mine.
I did not like it. Only the reason why I liked it was because it was convenient, and I could actually call my parents to pick me up from school, or my best friend, my best friend went to the same school as me, so that's out the window. But my girlfriend, when she actually did pick me up from school, that was awesome. It was very convenient for that feature, having it readily available, even though I had to bring the phone back to my parents because they were the ones that paid the bill. But then when I went back to school again the next day, they would give it back to me when I was a junior or senior, and then they would actually go back and forth until when my father says, "Screw this, let's get another line or two or whatever." You know what I mean? And then that was even more convenient.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's funny, looking at my nephew Aiden, because he's 13, and he's had a phone since I think 11. I think 11 sounds about right, and it's like wow, like really, it's just funny in a way.
Which one triggers you more, your nephew or a child who was like 3 or 4 having a cell phone in their hand?
I've seen that, and what's even more scary in a way. Even a child, say like at 3 or 4, knows how to operate one. It's kind of scary in a way. It's kind of like it's kind of
like
like
they know how to push buttons and whatnot.
Yeah,
it's like, are they really ready for the responsibility for these? Like, why are these parents giving people their young kids cell phones nowadays? Oh, I know why. Because so they can listen to the Baby Shark Baby crap on their cell phones.
Yes, that annoying crap.
Or the Frozen theme song Even though, granted, that's better than the Baby Shark baby crap. No offense.
Yeah. Now, I have some stories to tell. Now, one of the stories is actually from me. The rest are from friends and coworkers. I'm going to start with the coworker one first. This comes from my previous job. He tells me the story that he was leaving a supermarket or some retail store, and he's walking to his car, and he looks off to his side, and he sees this couple, man, woman, and they're walking together, and they're talking, but they're not talking to each other. They're looking at their cell phones while they're talking. And my colleague, my coworker at the time, he says to himself, "Wait, you guys are in a relationship. Why are you guys looking at your phones, not at each other?" And he's got a point.
I mean, if I saw that, I'm like, bitch, please. Let me snatch your cell phones and let's see how well your relationship lasts.
And if I can just tackle a side story here, these are stories that I've heard before. I've heard stories. Excuse me. I've heard stories where people would be on their cell phones and they are just glued to their cell phones. Actually, I think it was not recently, maybe like a few years back. There was an incident where somebody got ran over by a train because the kid was on his cell phone, was not paying attention at all. Like he was totally zoned into his phone, and the train hit him, and it killed him instantly. Or, or
That
some,
happens.
yeah, or somebody just walking on the sidewalk, and they're walking while there's a green light, there's oncoming traffic, and somebody in their car, hardy har har, is on his cell phone. He looks up, he slams on the brake, and the guy that's walking notices it, and he can't dodge out of the way in time, so he gets hit. It's become a distracting device. Now, here's another story that I want to share with you. Now, this doesn't come from me. This comes from a friend of mine whose name I won't mention. He tells a story that I think it was like a Friday night or it was a Saturday night, and he invited his family over, his brothers, sisters, cousins, whoever, and they all decided to have a Mario Party night. So they whipped out the controllers, they put the Mario Party game in, and they're playing. And there's that one family member who's on his cell phone, and they have to constantly say to him, "Hey, bro, it's your turn." So he drops the phone, takes his turn, does his thing, goes back on his phone, mini game time, not even paying attention, loses in the mini game. Here comes his turn again, and they say again, "Bro, take your turn." And you know what? I don't blame them for being upset because
I mean, I would be too.
here's where I come from. If you're gonna play, put everything down, focus on the game. And if you're not gonna play, then quietly leave from the game. Now, I have I have a story to share. Now, I'm not going to mention any names, and I'm not going to mention the party that I went to. Here's all I'm going to say. I did go to a party. Once again, I'm not going to mention what kind of a party it was.
That's fine.
I went to a party that I was invited to, and it was a good party, nice crowd. People were great. Got to chit chat with some of the people that I didn't know who they were. Very nice people, very friendly people. And we're playing this card game. We're having a good time playing cards. And there's about maybe 6 or 7 people at the table, including the friend that invited me. Well, it's my friend's turn. And people at the table are like, "Friend," I'm not going to mention he or she's name. So they say, "Friend, it's your turn." The friend puts the phone down, takes the turn. Everybody takes their turns. It goes back to the friend. "Hey, friend, it's your turn." So, friend looks at the cards, places the card down, goes back around. "Friend, it's your turn." So the friend just decided to just take the turn, get up, and leave. And it's
Wow.
to me,
What the fuck?
and on top of that, we were skipping the friend's turn. And finally, somebody at the table just went, "Hey, where did said person go?" And the friend of mine was in a room just sitting on a bed doing God knows what. Texting or talking to somebody, probably texting because everybody seems to text these days. And you know, it kind of bothered me. I mean, I didn't show it. I didn't show it because I was having too much of having a good time. But it bothered me the more I kind of thought back to it, and I was like, wow, in a way, I think in a way, at
I
least
mean,
this is how
hold up,
I
hold up,
take
hold
it.
up, hold up, hold up. For me, I know this is your turn, but for me, if that was going to be the case, it's a catch-22. Like, would you side with your group, or would you side with the person that left? You know what I mean? It's like it's like I know it's going to be a losing battle either way. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But do you want to offend the person that you guys offended, and then the person left? Like, what? Like, I feel for the guy. I really do. But at the
Well,
same
not just the
time,
guy, like the people that were involved, because there was a few people, even people at the same time, that said person, it's your turn. Are you going to take your turn? Or I think there was even one point. There might have been, I don't know if it was one person or two people that said it. I don't really quite remember, but I thought I remember somebody at the table said person, it's your turn. Are you going to play your card or are you not going to play with us? I thought I remember somebody saying that. And you know what? Kudos to that person. I hate to say it and I hate to side with that person, but that person had a point. It's like, if you're gonna play with us, and if you do have to take an urgent call, let us know. Don't just sit there on your phone just texting in front of us. I take that as being rude.
it's being rude.
Now, exactly. Now, somebody that's watching this, the audience, to whoever who's watching this, they may think it's not rude. I don't know who would think that, but they're entitled to their opinion. I'm not gonna argue with them, but what I'm just gonna say is I think it's rude. I think it's ignorant. And if you're gonna play, you put the phone down and you play. If you have something urgent, you say to everybody, "Hey, listen, everybody, I have an urgent call here. Please excuse me." And then you will be excused and take your urgent call. And then the said people will play without you. Then once you're done, put the phone down, say, "Hey, everything is okay," and continue onward.
I mean, you're not wrong. On one hand, the person who was texting or whatever he was doing uh, was being rude, but then that comment is also being rude. So
Oh, about the whole, are you going to play your card or are you not going to play?
yeah, because that's also being disrespectful. Because that
I mean,
makes you not. Because at that point, you're not that much different than the player that was playing, and he was on his cell phone.
I
So it's either, you know what I mean?
no, no, no. I get what you mean, but I can understand the frustration in the person that said, "Are you going to play your card or are you not going to play with us?" I can get the frustration because it's like, there's a good momentum, there's a good pace of the game, and all of a
But
sudden,
would you? But would you personally say it? Well, I know
I
you.
wouldn't
I've
say
known you
it.
for how many?
I mean, I may
Because I,
say I may say something to the lines of, uh, "Oh, hey, why? It's your turn."
I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. But still, I would not say it. Maybe I'll nudge him or whatnot. But I would not go up and say, "Hey, you're glued to your cell phone. Uh, either you're going to be playing cards with us, or please, at this point, we would like to ask you to leave." If you would have said something politely, fine. But if you didn't say something politely, then it's best not to say anything at all.
Hmm. Yeah, no, I get what you mean. It's like I
Because
said, cell phones have
because
become a very distracting device. I know I said this earlier, but this is kind of an example. If you're gonna say so, I know I kind of cut you off, but say what you want to say really quick, because there is something I do want to say as well.
it's like, uh, I mean, it is a distracting device, but still, uh, you don't want to be that guy being as ignorant as a guy that was being ignorant to you.
Right.
And plus, nowadays, people don't express gratitude or modesty anymore. It seems like they are now failing to understand the words of saying, please, can I have this? Thank you for having this with me, or thank you for allowing me to have this job, or thank you for doing your job. You're welcome. Uh, God bless, or God bless you, or bless you, or for the people who are religious or not,
Right.
or Gesundheit if you do it in German, or salute, or salute, or Nazdrovia, or whatever kind of languages you want to say for your blessing if a person sneezes. It seems like not a lot of people do that these days. And I was talking to people at work about this, customers and vendors alike. I'm like, what happened to these people are not being polite anymore?
Unfortunately, they're fizzling out. They have all
And
been glued to, like I said, looking at their cell phones, looking at social media, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, you name it. I mean, social media, it's almost like the internet. It's like people will believe everything they hear on the internet, or they just listen to whoever says it and they go, "Oh yeah, that person's right. That person has to be right." But they don't dive down deep. They don't dig deep to see if they're really really telling the truth or if they're just fabricating the story.
my father's always taught me one valuable lesson when I was a kid. Believe 10% of what you hear, believe 50% of what you see, and the rest is all bullshit.
He's not wrong. I agree with that man.
Granted, I think that he's a complete asshole sometimes, but so am I. But who's keep counting of what the track is, you know?
Now, the one thing I wanted
But
to mention about cell phones is, there are those memes with cell phones, and some of it is like a little scary in a way. There's that one meme where there's like three kids looking at their cell phones, and inside their head it's supposed to be their brain, but unfortunately their brain is a cell phone now. There's another meme where there's a girl, a hot attractive babe, she's taking a picture of herself. Well, I mean, I know what I said was kind of funny, but here's the scary thing though.
I'm
So
sorry, it's so funny.
but here's this attractive woman. She takes a picture of herself, posts it on social media, but yet there's like hundreds of other people, if not thousands of other people. And those said thousands are probably mostly strangers, some of which are probably close friends, others are probably family. And then there's those that are complete strangers, and you don't know who those strangers could be. I even have a few friends who have over at least 1,000 friends. And actually, funny story, I went to one of those said friends before, and I had to question them. And I said, I got a question for you. For the 1,000 friends you have on Facebook, do you know all of those 1,000 friends? And
No.
his response was about about a quarter of them are friends and family, about another quarter is events I've been to, like racing events, other events, social events, and whatnot. And for the rest, I don't know who they are. They're probably just like friends of another friend, or they just
Not one of
found
those.
me and I just decided to just add them.
Well, it is getting weird and creepy sometimes with social media is concerned and cell phones. And first, it's computer. Then they upgraded to the cell phones because it's more convenient because they can take it around, or tablets or whatnot, you know?
Right.
Uh, but as far as cell phones, even you could talk to people on Skype on it. I mean, that's cool and all. Depends on your data plan, of course. It's convenient, but some of the people on Skype, you could be total strangers for all you know.
True.
I mean, you would hope and pray that they are friends or family, because that'll make it even more comfortable. But some of the people on there could be total strangers, like AOL back in the day. Remember that?
Oh
And
yeah.
then
AOL. I remember AOL.
back in the
You
day,
got
there's
mail.
yeah, right. It's like that one movie, You Got Mail. That one movie with Tom Hanks and whoever that female actress was.
Oh, not
Meg Ryan. Meg Ryan.
yes.
It reminds me of totally that movie, like the You Got Mail part, and then there's like group chats that you can find people on, and then most of those people were total strangers,
You know,
and then
I'm sorry, go ahead.
they upgraded to like MySpace, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I don't know if the last two are in that order, but you get my point.
Right. But
Continue.
But no, and then another one I want to add, and this is probably the most saddest one of them all. So there's a before and after picture. So in the before picture, there's a family eating, it's either Christmas or Thanksgiving, whatever it is, maybe Easter. And, in the picture, everybody's talking with each other, they're looking at each other. And then the after picture, it's the same picture, but everyone is looking at their cell phones while having a conversation. Isn't that pretty sad? And I believe it. I believe that is a thing right now as we speak. And it's not just family. You could invite like 10 friends over at the house, sit at a campfire, but there's going to be at least 3 people on their cell phone looking to see what's going on Facebook or what's going on Twitter or anything.
That is pretty sad. But when it comes to like a campfire, like a pit or whatnot, or like a bonfire, more chances for me, I would be less likely to go on social media because I could do that later. I'll be more glued to my cell phone if, say, I'm talking to somebody. If I'm not there with said person, like my best friend or my girlfriend or whatnot, like I wouldn't be on any social media garbage. You know what I mean?
No,
So
I
that's
get
pretty
exactly
sad.
what you mean.
I mean, granted, nowadays you could go like on Instagram or Facebook and video record your experiences out in the world, but me, I would rather experience it for myself first and foremost before I do any kind of video things or picture taken. Granted, yes, I'll take a picture, but then I could post it on later. But depends if I get the permission from the group of people that I'm with. But if I'm doing like say without people, you better believe I want to be posting it on social media.
I know we were talking about kids and cell phones. What's even sad is that because all cell phones they have a time, of course, and it's digital. Do you know that most kids cannot read a Roman numeral clock?
I wouldn't put it past that. Nope. I agree
They
with you.
literally cannot tell on those times. I can. I can tell like when it's 5, 6, 7, 8 o'clock. I mean, actually, as a matter of fact, I know like some old countries like England and Poland, they do have like a clock tower of some kind that has the Roman numeral clock on it.
Yeah, the analog clocks.
Right, exactly. But I know we spoke mostly bad about cell phones. Now, if we do have to look at it from a positive point of view, what is some positives that you can see out of it?
Convenience. That's the only positive thing.
True.
It's convenience.
Like for instance, like if you get into a car accident, you got a cell phone to phone like your mom, dad, boyfriend, girlfriend, whoever you have. That's one. if you're waiting at like say like a waiting room, or you're waiting for somebody to get done with like a doctor's appointment or a dentist, you can whip the phone out and play a game on there. That's two. Um,
Listen to music.
Listen to
That's three.
music.
That's a big one. You know what? At the dentist's office, I kid you not, I'd rather listen to music. Would Be Disturbed, Linkin Park, Five Finger Death Punch, Motorhead, or any of the bands that you could think of over playing a game, because I'd rather listen to music instead of listening to the drill in my mouth. 'Cause I'm like, fuck this. I ain't dealing with that noise in my damn ear. Fuck that. I'd rather listen to my music, because then at that point it distracts me and it makes the dentist experience that much better. Or even getting a tattoo done. Granted, I'd rather get tattoos like all over my body. I know I got 13. What? But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It seems like certain noises bothers me, and music is the only way to draw things out. And being on your cell phone or even or like an iPod or whatnot, even though that's now obsolete.
Yeah, I remember those iPods. That was like before high school years.
You're not wrong. It was about that time of era. But yeah, now they're upgrading to like say your cell phone, like you listen to Spotify, your YouTubes, or even if you have like a built-in music app that you can listen to music, or even an audiobook.
I want to squeeze this in really quick here. I mentioned school earlier. When we were in school, you were not allowed to carry your cell phone at all. Not during class, not outside of class, not even in lunch. Now you can have your cell phone on you. You could show it off if you're not in class, but if you're in class, it has to be put away. That is insane. We did not get away with that, but yet these new kids, they get away with it.
Granted, yeah, I did keep it in my pocket every single step of my way of my high school career when I got my cell phone.
Yeah.
But I would.
Man, I am so glad we had this conversation about cell phones.
It's getting pretty lengthy. Don't get me wrong, and I don't mind it, because it's more passionate to talk about this.
It is. It's very passionate.
It educates people out in the world. Think, is it really necessary? Is it really needed in your life? Some people even eliminate certain applications because they could use your computer or your laptop, like
right.
say your social media, like your Twitters or your Facebooks or your Instagrams or your MySpace, if you have MySpace, or your Twitch or your Mixer or your YouTube. People do it on their computers if they don't want to be that highly distracted on your cell phone.
Exactly. Well, running out of time here, so I'm going to drop you the final 3 questions here. First question.
I wish we could do a 2-parter with this.
Yeah, well, we could always do it another time. There's always another time for that. So, final 3 questions for you. What do you see the future of cell phones?
It's going to get bigger as far as size goes, because they're going to add the hard drive, like mini hard drive that they're having inside there, and the battery size is going to be increasing in the future. Don't get me wrong, I've seen this. And now your Androids and your iPhones, they're getting bigger every single year, if you've noticed.
Yes, I've noticed it as well. Second question.
And the duration of their time is getting lengthy at best.
Yeah, exactly. Second question. Do you ever see a point in time where cell phones could be obsolete?
Like I said, if people start using their tablets as a replacement for your cell phones, considering that some people actually do use tablets as their cell phones instead of using their regular cell phone, or even people who have 2 cell phones, one for business and one for personal.
See, I don't think the cell phone will ever go away. Not in our lifetime. Maybe the lifetime after we pass, maybe, but
I
I mean,
mean,
who's to
I'm,
say?
I mean, it is getting towards that time because now look at what people are wearing on their wrists, like a
Yeah.
Samsung watch
Y-
and
y-
like an iWatch for the Apple users. You know, it seems like watches are going to be the next cell phone.
And maybe, you know what? I don't think a lot of people would not like this, but if let's say if 20 years from now, the cell phone is now the cell watch, I will strongly suggest don't add a camera or a video camera because I would love to. What I would love to see be brought back is where you go to a wrestling event, you go to a sporting event, you go to a concert. Your hands are up in the air and not your cell phone. I would love to see that come back. I want a quick story, really quick. I was watching a live concert. This is from '99 or 2000. It was funny enough. It was an NSYNC concert, live at Madison Square Garden. And what I found funny, that's what I found funny. Everyone in the crowd has their hands in the air. Nothing is in their hands. If that NSYNC live maybe a small camera, like one of those flash cameras, maybe, but nothing like device like a cell phone. Because if
I
that
mean,
was today, there would have been cell phones in the air.
do you know what they used in the air in replacement for light?
Probably the flash cameras.
No,
What would have it been?
lighters.
Yeah, yeah. There you go. Back when arenas probably allowed
Fire.
lighters to be lit, now they can't do that anymore because of safety precautions.
And plus, that'd be way too hot, and the whole arena or ballpark, if you have like an indoor ballpark or a indoor football stadium, if it gets like a certain temperature, those freaking sprinklers would be going off, and people be pissed off.
I just a quick thing on wrestling. I do miss like when the Undertaker came out, you would see lighters in the air. Oh my god, I miss that. I do miss that.
You know who I would like to do that for nowadays?
Let me guess, Bray
Bray
Wyatt.
Bray Wyatt, instead of using your cell phones to be the Firefly Funhouse.
Yeah, that would be great. And final question, now relating to cell phones. You mentioned tattoos. What's your favorite tattoo?
On me or in general?
Uh, the tattoo you have on you right now. What is your most favorite?
My Triforce.
Nice. And of course, obviously, that's from Zelda.
Of course.
Of course. I mean, every time we think of Triforce, we think of Zelda for those Zelda nerdy fans out there, and I'm one of them.
uh, it's beautifully done, and the design flawlessly executed.
And I'm guessing this is on your arm or hand.
Neither.
Where is it located, if you don't mind sharing?
Right outer thigh.
Okay, because I would think in most cases it would be like on the arm or like on the hand itself, which
But
that probably would
it is
hurt a
on the
little bit.
but it is on the right side. So with him holding the ocarina, it is always on the right hip.
Right.
I mean, granted, most people would put on the hand because it is a Zelda thing.
Yeah.
Usually he has it on his hand. But the size of this, it had to be on the thigh. It had to be nowhere else but the thigh.
Interesting. Well, that wraps up episode 2 of the Let's Talk Anything podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed this edition, episode 2 of the Let's Talk Anything podcast. I don't know about you, Tony, but I had a blast. Another excellent episode that we had here for tonight.
I mean, out of all the topics, I think the cell phone topic trumps it all.
Definitely. And we'll definitely come up with a part 2 if we can think of another continuation for the part 2 of the cell phone.
I mean, we have to.
I mean, yeah. Maybe, oh, yeah. I mean, like I said, maybe we could find pictures on the internet. There's more pictures than like the ones I described. We could talk about it and related to that said topic. But that wraps up here.
I mean, hold on. For all the viewers out there, once you watch this, put in the doobly doo below the screen and ask any questions. Maybe we could answer some of your questions if you don't mind having them.
Yeah, and we can maybe save those questions for the next episode. We could answer, kind of do like a mailbag, or do like a mail comment and answer some of the comments.
Or like a Q&A for cell phones or whatever topic that we have nowadays.
True, exactly. Well, that does wrap it up here. I want to thank everybody once again for joining us, episode 2 of the Let's Talk Anything podcast. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't, and do hit the notification. You can follow me on the Twitter, Sonic Mix 1991. And what's your handle once again?
My handle on every single thing except for YouTube. Well, we already knew that from the first episode. It is typically Triple Trinity 06. It is my handle for almost anything and everything.
Awesome indeed. Alrighty, guys. We are out of here. I am your host, Matthew Sonic Mix, alongside my guests.
And co-host. Tony Triple Trinity 06.
Alrighty then. Thank you guys so much. And until then, we will see you next time for episode 3 very soon. Maybe Sunday night, depending how the day goes.
If not Sunday night, maybe like either later in the week for our reviews or whatnot for wrestling and our predictions for the next upcoming football game.
Yes, definitely. Absolutely. All right, everybody. Have yourself a good night. Thank you guys for joining us. And until then, we will see you next time for episode 3. Have a good night, everybody. Take care.